Root cellars is something that used to be in every person's home back in the day. Now, they're rarely talked about. With the advancement of technology, there really has been no need to have one. But after the shelves went empty in 2020, it's got me thinking about more ways to preserve my food. With a root cellar, I can store my own homegrown vegetables up to 6 months, depending on the temperature and the humidity. Most vegetables, you want to have a humidity of about 90%, with a temperature of 35 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So, with the changing of the seasons, the big harvest you got at the end of fall can be enjoyed over the wintertime by sitting in your root cellar, just like how nature intended it to be. And when the springtime comes, you start the whole cycle back over again by planting more plants and enjoying them in the summertime, and then having that big harvest going into fall. There are lots of different ways to build a root cellar. The most simplest way is to dig a hole, bury a trash can with a vent pipe coming out. But the more advanced ones require a lot more digging and a lot more planning. But if you have the equipment and skills, you can really come up with something special. I live on a hill, so I think it would be awesome to dig into it and make that my root cellar. But I don't have the equipment and money to do something like that right now. So I'm going to utilize the space I have in my crawl space and turn it into a root cellar. Here we are in the crawl space. And it's not as tight as most crawl spaces. I don't have to crawl around too much unless I get deep into it. This is where the entrance is at. Plan is to put a wall somewhere like right here. Come all the way to here. Keep that light in. And it's going to stop somewhere where this post is at, but out here somewhere. Big son of a gun right there. Whew. Take a while. I think I can make this to a nice root cellar. This really is some hard work, especially when you're bending over constantly, scooping up dirt and breaking up rock. But whenever I get a chance to take a break, I love just sitting back and just thinking about what this is going to be. That's mostly what keeps me motivated on doing these types of projects. Really, just this is what gets me through life, is just dreaming about what I can create here. I had purchased a new chest freezer, so I was measuring up where I was going to place it at. And right next to the door seemed like the best spot. I already had a smaller chest freezer. That's where the camera is sitting at now. The smaller one is 7 cubic feet. The bigger one is twice that, 14 cubic feet. Cool thing about these chest freezers is that I got them cheaper than what I originally paid for them. On the bottom right corner of the smaller chest freezer, you can see where it's dented in. Once I got it home and opened up the package and saw that, I took a picture, brought the receipt in, and they gave me 25% off. The bigger one went on sale after I purchased it, so I called them up and they reimbursed me the money right over the phone. After I got the chest freezer in place, I took a break from the project, but once I got back at it again, I really started digging up a lot of the dirt, a lot of the rock, and making room for where the walls were going to be at. It is Labor Day weekend, and I got 2 days to get as much work done as I can, and I'm hoping I can just finish this whole thing out. Put in a lot of work. It looks like got it all done. Just a little bit more to make it just right. But we're just about there. So I'm gonna go and get all of the lumber that I need tomorrow to build the wall and get to it. Recently, I've been getting my lumber at Home Depot, and I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with it. About every single stud that I pick up is completely straight, they're not warped, they're not bent at all, and I've been pretty satisfied with what I've picked out so far. I recommend putting wheels on your miter saw. If you've picked up a miter saw, you know it's heavy. Having wheels to be able to move it to where you want is super nice. And then you simply hit a little switch with your foot, and you're set up in a matter of seconds. Now I got all my tools down here, all the lumber that I need to build a wall. The trench is dug out of where the wall is going to be placed here, and it is leveled with the foundation. I've got one more thing that I got to do, and there's these pieces of concrete that are in the way here, and I got an awesome tool to fix that. This Bosch Bulldog Extreme runs on battery and is a hammer drill, and you have different options of where you can turn it into drill mode or you can have it on jackhammer. This thing just goes right through concrete like nothing. And it was the first tool I got when we bought the house. I used it to break up rock so I could build a switchback down the river. And it worked out great. I'll have a link in the description if you want to get one. Now it's back to digging. I decided to add 2 cement blocks underneath the wall to give it better support. Everything squared and leveled. It's time to get some tack guns out and keep everything in place. Now it's time to cut the top plate. I had to cut the top plate into 2 different pieces because of the ductwork. I'm putting a mark where the floor joist is at, and then I'm going to get my screw started so whenever I lift it back up, it'll be much easier to screw into the ceiling. Now I had to get my stud straight. And to do this, I had to unfasten the screws to the top plate again and scoot it over a little bit so it'll be perfectly leveled. I learned my lesson, so the next time I did it on the other side, I only fastened 2 screws, then I got the stud out to make sure it was straight. Once it all checked out okay, I fastened everything down. I was putting my studs 16 inches on center, which is the correct way of doing it, but I decided I didn't need that many studs, so you'll notice in some sections the studs are more spread out than others. So the framework is done for the walls. We just need to finish the framework for the door, which is going right here. Now I'm cutting pieces to build a door. Nothing fancy here. I'm not building a piano. I'm just building a door to get into my crawl space. Everything was going all right until this happened. I realized the door's too big and it was hitting the light. It really wasn't that bad. I simply got a 2x4, screwed it into the other 2x4, and that gave me enough space to clear the light. Now, taking the door apart and making it shorter, that's another story. But it all worked out in the end. And just a simple latch here to keep the door shut. The walls are all framed up. I have the door framed up. It's working. It's a little tight, but it is working. Now I just need to put insulation in here. I got 5 4x8 pieces. They were an inch thick. It was $150. Just like perfect right there. What a nice cut. I used a utility knife to make all the cuts on my foam, and it worked out just fine. I really like the blue color of the insulation, and since this is my natural refrigerator, it gives it a nice cool look. Now everything went pretty smooth of laying out this insulation up until I got to the door. It went on alright, but the problem I had is that it was too tight on the edges of the door, so I had to trim off a lot of the insulation, as you can see, but it all worked out, and this way it is completely sealed off all around the door. The walls and insulation are all put up, everything is sealed off, so now we have a closed-in room here. We have the vent right up top there, so all the heat will go out that way, and then all the cold air will come in underneath the door. So now I gotta dig up some more dirt to make a spot of where I'm gonna put the produce at. And I also need to make some crates to put the produce in, and then place it right here in the dirt. And I also want to make some shelves to put up on the wall right here, and put all my canned goods on the wall. So let's get back to digging. I made the crates out of some scrap wood I had sitting around. This is what it looks like now. I'm going to pile up some more dirt around the crates when it's all said and done. But now, I'm going to go ahead and build the shelves that's going on the wall right here. I got these brackets at Walmart for $1 each. And then I went back and I added a 2x4 on top. That way I can make a bigger shelf out of it. They had bigger brackets, but they were like $5 each. So I saved a lot of money by doing it this way. It is so satisfying seeing all my canned goods sitting on the shelf like that. So this is what the root cellar looks like now. We got all the canned goods there on the shelf. We have some onions and pantyhose hanging from the shelf. We have carrots in one crate, beets in the middle, and potatoes on the far left here. Here's what the temperature and humidity level is at. 52 degrees Fahrenheit, 82% humidity, which is pretty good. And over on my left side here, we have the bigger chest freezer. We have more onions hanging on the pantyhose. As you can see, we got some sprouting, which is not good, but to use those up quick. The ones that are not sprouting should be good for a couple more months. Plenty of meat and vegetables inside of here that are frozen. And then over here, we got a bunch of chicken that we raised here on the homestead. So if you are thinking of doing a root cellar and you have a crawl space, I would suggest on taking advantage of it and building yourself a root cellar. And you may not actually have to build walls. You could probably just use the crawl space as it is. As for me though, the crawl space on the other side of that wall, it's at 62 degrees right now, so it is much hotter on the inside, and that's why I had to close off a little space here. But it wasn't that much work, it wasn't a whole lot of money, and now I have a nice natural refrigerator below my house. If you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel, check out some more. Thank you for watching, have yourself a great day.